Florida has the highest population out of the 10 states with abortion measures on the ballot this year. The Sunshine State has strong pro-life advocates, including Governor Ron DeSantis. Last year, Governor DeSantis signed the heartbeat bill into law. That law protects life after a heartbeat is detected in a baby, which is typically around 6 weeks. The law only took effect in May of this year. Florida's Amendment 4 would allow abortion without restriction up to the point of viability, which is around 24 weeks, and even beyond if the patient's healthcare provider gives approval. Pro-life advocates have warned abortion could be allowed up to the moment of birth if it passes.
The amendment language specifically eliminates parental consent and only maintains parental notification. And I think most people, once they process that, understand that notifying is very different than a parent actually consenting to a minor obtaining a very dangerous medical procedure that has life-altering consequences.
Florida's amendment is unique in that it needs 60% of voters to approve it before it can pass. Recent polls showed only about a 43% approval rating. Turning to Nebraska now, where voters will decide between two abortion amendments. Nebraska currently allows abortion up until 12 weeks. Initiative 434 would keep the 12-week limit with exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. But Initiative 429 would extend the abortion window, allowing it up until viability, which is, again, around that 24-week mark.
It's very clear. Catholics in Nebraska should be voting against Initiative 439. It is an unsafe, unregulated, un-Nebraskan abortion proposal.
The Catholic Church is asking voters to vote against Measure 439 and for Measure 434. But either way, abortion in Nebraska will remain legal. It is just a matter of how late into pregnancy abortion is permitted. Joining us now with analysis on state abortion measures is Kelsey Pritchard, the State Public Affairs Director for Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America. Kelsey, thanks for joining us. When you look at the campaign specifically in Florida, do you think it's likely to win? Former President Trump recently flip-flopped on his stance on Amendment 4. Did that create confusion there?
I think the pro-life side has a good chance of beating Amendment 4 tonight, and that is in huge thanks to Governor Ron DeSantis. He has been for weeks talking to people about the true implications of this abortion ballot measure and how it will allow abortion at any point in pregnancy, and it will take away parental consent. And he's been traveling around the state talking about this. His health department has been very, very clear about misinformation from the other side in their ads on the life of the mother exception there. And when Donald Trump came out saying that he was going to vote against the measure, I think that only helped in cementing not only the pro-life vote, but people who are more moderate and exposing how extreme this measure truly is.
Seems like there's a lot of pro-life optimism around Florida right now. And the situation in Nebraska, that's unique because it has these competing amendments, pro-abortion versus pro-life. How does that affect the pro-life strategy?
Yes, there are different scenarios that could play out in Nebraska tonight that would leave us with a win. Both ballot measures could fail. We would count that as a win because the bad one would not be put in the Constitution. One could pass and one could fail. And if both pass, the one that has the most support is the one that wins. So if the measure that prevents abortion in the second and third trimester gets just a few votes more than the bad one that will allow abortion at any point, that's the one that will go in the Constitution. So feeling good about Nebraska tonight as well.
We'll be monitoring that, of course. And what are you expecting from the three states that are considered the most pro-life and the abortion amendments there? Missouri, Florida, and South Dakota.
Yeah, all of these states are very pro-life. We've seen different amounts of funding come in as far as there's some discrepancies in Missouri. The pro-life side is really outfunded there, unfortunately. But in South Dakota, the funding has been more even until recently, and the pro-life side actually has raised more money as of the latest reporting than the pro-abortion side. So we're optimistic. The churches there have been really involved in all of these states to sound the alarm and expose what exactly these amendments do. So praying for those states tonight. And if you live in one of those states and the polls haven't shut and you haven't voted, you've still got time.
A great reminder. And looking more closely at South Dakota, you worked for the governor's office in South Dakota and you live there. How do you see the abortion amendment playing out specifically in South Dakota?
South Dakota is a very pro-life state, and we really do not take kindly when leftist forces try to come in and make us more like California or Illinois. And that's exactly what we're seeing with Governor Pritzker. He has swooped in. It's not bad enough what he's done to his own state, but now he's trying to make other states very pro-abortion and allow abortion at any point. And so he's dumped money into the South Dakota race. But I think in South Dakota, we are very pro-life, and we don't like mandated taxpayer-funded abortion. We don't like the removal of parental rights. And so in any of these states, if voters understand what they're voting on, they will reject these measures. And so prayers for South Dakota and all of the states where abortion is on the ballot today.
Absolutely, those prayers. And Kelsey, I have just under a minute with you, but can you quickly speak to the importance of pro-life protections at the state level in this post-Roe v. Wade era?
Yeah, there are almost half of the states have a pro-life protection in place and protect babies at the point they can feel pain at 15 weeks or earlier. And these laws truly do save lives, and they protect the most defenseless among us. And we know they're under attack through the abortion industry, through ballot measures, through litigation. And so we must all do our part and ask God what our part is individually and help protecting life in our states, whether we have that law in place or whether we don't. And we can be the hands and feet of the pro-life movement through pregnancy resource centers or by other ways that God would use us.
Kelsey, we thank you so much for your insight.